Hi, I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. My channel is dedicated to helping victims of narcissistic abuse get free and stay free. Before I get going with this video, I want to thank our friend Diane again for your donation to our channel's PayPal account. I noticed when I did thank you, it was in that video with the really horrible sound, and I'm sorry about that. I was having some audio issues that day. It's been about 10 days since I made a video, and I want to thank you guys for staying in touch with me. Now, this has been such a big onion, and so many layers have been peeled away. And of course, I've been free now 3 years. I've been living in Mexico about 9 or 10 months now. And on a daily basis, I feel great. I feel absolutely great. I have been able to reignite some passions that I once had, and those things are all going really good. And really, from day to day, none of it bothers me. I never miss Trevor. I never think about Trevor. There's no longing. I've absolutely come to recognize that he is an absolute piece of shit, and I'm grateful every day that I'm away from him. Now, we've talked many times about the lingering effects of narcissistic abuse, and one became very, very obvious in my life recently. Now, 10 days ago, when I made that last video, a couple of things happened. Well, one, two of my sons in Toronto were in a very serious accident. One narrowly escaped injury, and the other has been in hospital ever since. The biggest part of that problem, of course, is the one that's in the hospital, is my middle son. He has, since he was 13, suffered from acquired brain injury and then subsequent schizophrenia. So he doesn't process information well. So since he's been in the hospital, he's been absolutely terrified, really unable to understand what's happening or why he has to stay there. And though my mother has been there with him, and we'll talk about my mother another time, but she's been an absolute champ in this case. She is with Jacob, and she's been with him every moment of the visiting hours to help calm him down. But of course, when I've been talking to him, and I've talked to him pretty regularly, he's crying unconsolably. He doesn't know what's happening. He's just saying, "Mom, I love you. Mom, help me. Mom," and I'm, of course, almost 4,000 miles away. And wow, did this trigger adrenal fatigue. Now, I've never suffered from adrenal fatigue or large bouts of, let's just call it emotional incapacitation, as I have since getting free from Trevor. Now, with all that said, since I left Trevor, of course, as you guys know, for those of you who've been with the channel for a long time, I went to my house from Alberta to Saskatchewan. I was very busy with renovations, repairs, decorating in my home, and then, of course, that was a whirlwind, and then I sold the house, and I moved to Mexico, which, again, has been a series of, taking really big steps to get my life back on track. So there hasn't been a lot of major stressors, to be honest with you. Life stress, and I'm good with life stress. I mean, I've got 5 sons. My husband died. I've worked 2 jobs most of my life. Like, I'm down with life stressors. I get it, and I know that every day is not going to be nice. So, I kind of live my life with a bit of an expectation, ready yourself for a storm kind of thing, because, well, shit happens. But one of my greatest fears, of course, throughout my lifetime is that my sons would be together when something bad happened. And I've said this to them over and over again throughout their lifetime. They go camping with all 5 of them, in the same vehicle. And I've always begged them, can you guys split up? They'll travel together, take the same flight, do things like that have always really worried me. And though I've talked to them about it, I've said with, all of you together, if something happened, well, I think you guys all get it, right? I mean, this could be a recipe for disaster beyond disaster. Well, the 2 of them were together, and of course, crisis struck. Thank God. One walked away unscathed, and unfortunately, well, it's not that there'd be a good one to be in the hospital, but the one that is in the hospital is really struggling to understand what happened, how it happened, and why he's been in hospital for 10 days and what will happen from this point forward. So I'm going to tell you, it triggered adrenal fatigue in me, honestly, to the point of incapacitation. In the last 10 days, there was actually 2 days that I couldn't even speak to him on the phone. I haven't slept, I haven't been eating well, I am exhausted, mentally, spiritually, emotionally, physically exhausted beyond anything I could ever imagine. I mean, I get up early, I have fairly busy days. Like, this level of exhaustion's been absolutely really a challenge for me to deal with. Now, again, with all of that said, I never had anything like this happen prior to the narcissistic abuse. I mean, single mom, 5 kids, they all were involved in extreme sports, aerial tricks, snowboarding, skateboarding, lacrosse, football. I mean, the big injury ones, and God knows I have banked 1 million hours at emergency wards between the 5 of them. But yeah, since getting free from Trevor, since really moving on, I guess adrenal fatigue was something I really hadn't considered. Now, okay, since all of this happened, I have tried to stay very positive. I have recognized that I've got some real limitations right now. I would probably go as far as to say I feel like my decision-making power is somewhat altered. I wouldn't feel very confident making a big decision right now, so I've tried to keep things pretty simple. I have focused, really focused on jewelry making. Now, over the last 10 days, I've only been able to make 20 pairs of earrings and 5 necklaces, so that's not exactly, you know, going full guns, but I was able to do that, and that took every bit of strength I could muster. Something else I've been able to do is work very diligently on my plants, and I did a video a while back asking you guys for some tips on tropical gardens, on, you know, gardens in extreme heat. You guys sent me some incredible emails. I put every single suggestion to practice, and wow, has it paid off. So I really got to thank you guys. I'm growing things that I never dreamed I'd be able to grow. Organic hibiscus, we call it Jamaican. It's used as a tea for hot and cold beverages, loaded with vitamin C, and extremely beneficial in reducing depression. So I'm a big fan of the Jamaica, and the fact that I'm growing it, it's just been incredible. Peanuts, all kinds of peppers. The garden's just doing great. And again, I really want to thank you guys, but that was something I found I could sit mindlessly up on my roof and do for extended periods of time when I could barely check emails. The phone would ring and I'd come out of my skin. I haven't been able to answer the phone or really speak on the phone. I haven't been able to communicate one-on-one with people. Yeah, it's been really a strange layer of the onion. It really has been, because I think a lot of times, for me, 3 years out, you know, I feel like my strides picked up and I feel very much unaffected by it. And you gotta know, over the years, having 5 sons and very, very active sons, all in extreme sports, you know, I have been able to handle stress, I thought, like a champ, you know. Always been able to keep a situation calm, always been able to make good decisions, assess a situation very quickly. And this time, nothing. I got nothing. I feel absolutely like I've been dragged behind a truck. Now, over the last 10 days, during my incapacitation from adrenal fatigue stemming from extreme stress, I have been able to do some research, and I have really had a very strong desire to sit in solitude. to be alone. I have not interacted much. I've kept pretty much a poker face because, of course, I've got Eddie and Exton here, and I don't want them to see me crying or shaken or, you know, appearing very worried about Jacob. So I think I've been able to pull that off pretty good. You know, certainly there isn't a heightened sense of panic in the house. It's all sort of in me. But I have been doing some research, and I've got a couple of videos that I think are really important. I'm going to be getting to those later today and tomorrow, but I really wanted to share what this last 10 days has been like for me. And I want to ask you, because I know many of you have been out for a long time, have you come up against a stressor that really triggered adrenal fatigue? Sorry, I've been so shaken I can barely speak. I'm feeling better today than I have, you know, over the last few days. But yeah, still a little shaky, and I guess kind of waking up to yet another reality of narcissistic abuse. The potential, you know, that now I really don't have the stamina for extreme stress. Yeah, that was a real eye-opener for me, and I'm dying to hear from you guys. Have you experienced anything like this? Are you able to handle stress now the way you did prior to the abusive relationship? How do you deal with adrenal fatigue? How long does it take to pass? Because I'm just really, I'm finding myself really trying to fight my way out of it. And yeah, I feel overwhelmed by it. So yeah, this is really more of a reaching out to the community kind of video to ask you guys what's been going on with you when you come up against major life stressors, and how have you handled it? And do you notice, first and foremost, I mean, since getting free from the narcissist, since moving on with your life, do you experience adrenal fatigue? I mean, there's sometimes I feel tired, but nothing like this. Like, this has been absolutely incredible. Anyways, guys, thank you so much for your continued support. As always, I really appreciate it. And as I mentioned, I've got some videos that I think are going to be really important for our community coming up very soon. I just wanted to touch base and see if you guys have any advice for me, because I could really use it. Anyways, I love you guys lots. I've missed you horribly. I just, yeah, I really struggle to kind of put out a negative sort of vibe. And yeah, I've been feeling not negative, but struggling almost to find some happiness, or struggling to find a sense of gratitude. Like, typically I'm a pretty grateful person. I guess I found myself wallowing a bit in, yeah, I don't know. I don't know, it's been very strange, and it really is the first time I've ever felt this way as a result of a life stressor. So I'm dying to hear from you guys. I'm Kim. You're watching Kim Wilson TV. I hope you guys are having a great narc-free day.